Hello, I am back on the YouTubes, because I just have lots of things to say about, The Last Jedi, because Star Wars, and I love it, etc., etc. A couple days ago, I posted on Facebook that I had lots of thoughts about it, and I'd written them down, and here they are. So, I'm going to do my best to stick to the sort of script that we've got going on here, because tendency to ramble, especially about this, which I'm very passionate about. So, buckle up. This is the, review/rant about The Last Jedi that you didn't ask for, but you're getting anyway. So, anyway, let's do this. I'm going to begin with a very unpopular opinion. That would be that Rose should not have been in this movie at all. And that has nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman or the actress who played her is Asian, because that's just silly. I thought Kelly Marie Tran did a great job in this movie, given the part that, was written for her, or the character that was written that she ended up playing. She's a good actor, as far as I can tell. I haven't really seen her in anything else, except for I looked her up, and I think she had a part in some sitcom that I watched, but I didn't realize it was her because, it's like 3 years ago or whatever. So this is like the biggest thing she's ever done, and I thought she did great, and I kind of want to be best friend with her, but I think her character could have sort of not been in the movie and everything would have been fine. The sort of purpose that she serves in this film, I thought could have been better served by Poe, because the purpose that she serves in this film is to teach Finn that this fight against the First Order is worth fighting, and that's definitely something Poe believes. The two of them already have really good chemistry. See the beginning of The Force Awakens, that was super fun, and we definitely wanted to see more of that, and we didn't get any of that. And someone asked Rian Johnson about this, and he said that the reason was because there was no conflict between those two characters, and to that I say, you wrote the fucking movie. Write some fucking conflict between the two of them. Oh, also, if I didn't say, swear word alert and spoiler alert. So, moving on. So, yeah, and I think the conflict is there, because it's an ideological conflict between Finn, who is out for Finn, and not in a bad way. He just wants to protect himself. That's an instinct. That's a good instinct. You should always want to protect yourself. And Poe, who realizes that knows really that this fight is worth fighting, and that he wants to fight it, and I think he would be the right person to teach Finn that lesson. And I think if Poe was the one to discover Finn stealing the beacon, the beacon that shows Rey how to get home, and if Poe's the one who discovers Finn escaping with that would have been a lot more emotionally resonant, because they're, Poe's like, what the hell, dude? We were saving each other's lives and broing out, and now you're running away. Like, what gives, man? So that would have been an interesting moment to see, that relationship develop a little bit more complexly. But it seems like Rian Johnson doesn't. Either he doesn't know how to write for, or he doesn't like to write for characters who are confident and comfortable in their own skin and know who they are and know what they want. Because the A-plot is really strong because, for a handful of reasons, but one of the reasons is that those three characters are written very well, and all three characters don't know who they are or what they're supposed to do. Luke is having a identity crisis, basically, because he's failed as a Jedi Master, and if he's not a Jedi Master, who is he? And so he's run off to be a hermit. And Rey literally says, I need you to tell me my place in all this. And Kylo is ridden with conflict. He doesn't know if he's Kylo Ren, if he's Ben Solo, or really what it even means if he chooses one or the other. And so, that was really good, and all those characters were really great. And I think it's because they were written very well, and I see a connection there. These are characters who are not super confident in who they are. Whereas Poe, he knows exactly who he is and what he should do. He's a fighter. He's a leader. He knows that fighting the First Order is the right thing to do. And that's a lesson Finn needs to learn, and he does learn by the end of the movie. And I wish I had gotten to see Poe teach him that lesson, because they're already friends. And again, we wanted to see more of that chemistry. It would have been really fun to sort of, fan the flames of the Storm Pilot shippers, because that's always fun to mess with those people. I don't know, they could turn out to be right, but I kind of doubt it. So, and it would have kept Poe from that dumb fight with Laura Dern's character, because I am never been sure. Never been. The movie's been out for like 3 weeks, but I still can't figure out why she kept that plan, not just from Poe, but from everyone. It's not a particularly complicated plan. It's not like they're worried about, spies or anything like that. They're there's no reason for her not to, like, say, hey, it looks like we're just running away and waiting to die, but actually we're loading up the little transport so that we can escape unnoticed. Pass it on. And so, and you know, if you want that, if you need that, you know, big peril at the end of how they accidentally let Benicio del Toro's character know that they're escaping, and so he tells the First Order and everything starts exploding. Like, there's other ways to make that happen. Like, again, he wrote the fucking movie. Fucking right. Like, I mean, and I say all this having never attempted to write a movie, so, like, I understand it's hard, and I don't really know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't seem impossible, because I could probably, you know, I have a couple, you know, even, like, just talking about this with people, we've come up with 3 or 4 ideas of how that still could have happened, like, say, you know, Poe's role on the main ship of accidentally leaking important information could have been filled by Billie Lourd's character, which would have been fun, because it would have been fun to see her expand a little bit, because I don't remember her character's name, but it would be nice to be able to remember her character's name. She's a legacy. I bet she's a pretty good actor. You know, I think it would have been fun to expand her a bit. She got lines in this movie, which was neat. But you know, see, examples. Getting back to it. Let's see. So, and also I think the subplot could have been improved by not beating us over the head with the point of we should, you know, being cruel to children and animals is bad. Like, we know that. We can see that. If you see someone being cruel to children and animals, you'd be like, hey, those guys are probably evil. They didn't need to say, oh, it was so great to cause all that destruction. Like, people say that there's some bad acting in this movie. I think it's some bad writing. Like, I think those lines are just unactable, and they did their best. So honestly, if the art is good, the truth will out. You don't have to say it. I'm pretty sure we can figure it out on our own. And I think that's a problem that this movie has, is it beats you over the head with points that then don't successfully get made, because the whole thing of these rich people are horrible because they're selling weapons to the enemy. Well, they're not just selling weapons to the enemies, they're also selling weapons to the rebellion. So it's almost like weapons are morally neutral tools, and how you use them is where the goodness or badness comes in, but whatever. But so then the other problem they had, I think, was this was they tried to push the I don't want to say like shove feminism, because that sounds sort of anti-feminist, and I'm definitely not anti-feminist. You know, it's I think it's awesome to see these more female characters in Star Wars. It's fun. Like, Laura Dern could have had a really cool role, but I just don't think it was written very well, because she and Leia have that little moment after when Poe's like unconscious on a stretcher and all, isn't he cute with his little mutiny, and aren't we wise women? But no, you're not. Like, the problem there is that you made some poor decisions, like not telling your people what the hell is going on. So you were so worried about him fucking up your plan that you didn't tell him your plan, and if you just told him your plan, he probably wouldn't have fucked it up, you know. And if the point there, in the, you know, Poe's arc in this movie is he's learning how to be a good leader, and sometimes that's making the boring call. Like, he needed to learn that sometimes the right decision is to sit on your hands and do nothing, and you know, that would have been, you know, that could have been a teaching moment. Like, Laura Dern could have been like, you know, Poe, I know you want to jump out and blow stuff up, but here's the thing. This plan is safer and will work, so we're just going to have to sit and wait, and I know you don't want to, but you're going to have to learn that, and boom, character development. So, things like that bugged me in this movie, that, like, they just happen for no reason, and things don't make sense, and frustration. But, yeah. So, and I think if we had explored some of the calls in battle and combat that Poe had made, especially at the beginning when all those people died under his command, he could have been racked with guilt about that, because as I think he should be, not that he didn't make the right call, but, you know, he was responsible for those people, and they died. So I think that's where I think a lot of people, Poe has been called out for some toxic masculinity, and however you feel about that entire phrase and everything it stands for, I do think we didn't see him be enough of a human there, because, I mean, even if he did make the right decision with the whole bomber situation, which, I mean, I think he did, but some people think he didn't, it's up for debate, he should, like, Those people died because of calls that he made. So, and we didn't see him feel that at all. He was just like, yeah, I made the right decision, but at what cost is a good question that I'm not sure he explored enough. But, so, and I think if we had kept Poe in the, B plot, more, sent him off with Finn to, Space Vegas, then we could have continued to establish, Rey, Finn, and Poe as our new big three, because Rey is obviously Luke. Finn, I think, is Han, because he's out for himself, not in the same way that Han is, but he is out for himself, and he's in the fight for what he can get out of it. For Han, it was money. For Finn, it's safety, really, and to run away with probably Rey. And Poe is Princess Leia because come on, beginning of Force Awakens, he's captured by our Darth Vader character. But just before that, he puts a secret thing in a droid, who then runs across the desert to find our Luke Skywalker character. He then gets rescued from Darth Vader character by a stormtrooper with no helmet. Come on, he's Princess Leia. So if we carry that in to our sort of Empire chapter of the new trilogy, then, Rey, Luke is off, learn how to be a Jedi, kind of, sort of. And then we have Han and Leia, i.e. Finn and Poe. Talk about fanning the flames of the Storm Pilot shippers. Jeez Louise. They're off teaching Finn how to be a good person, basically, and why to be a good person. And not necessarily a good person, but a selfless person. So, and that was it bonded those characters together, it established their chemistry, it was something I think we all wanted to see in The Last Jedi, was those two characters getting a more complex relationship. And I'm really disappointed that didn't happen. Like, more than anything, I am disappointed we did not continue to explore the relationship between those two characters, because those two actors have such good chemistry. It would have been so much fun, and I think that was a mistake, not giving them more screen time together. So, let's move on. That was that page. Sorry, my pages are out of order. It doesn't make a lot of sense. We did that. Oh, okay. I finally get to talk about the A-plot. Yay! Everyone's favorite. And I think that's absolutely true. The A-plot, the Rey, Luke, Kylo stuff. So good. So well written. So well acted. And it also did a neat thing because Force Awakens is pretty much a beat-for-beat remake of A New Hope, which is fine. Don't have a problem with that. And this one, the sort of temptation / obvious next step is to make this a sort of beat-for-beat remake of Empire, which they did a bit until the end, when it becomes the end of Return of the Jedi, but with a twist, which is why we can go anywhere we want, because instead of Kylo killing Snoke and then turning good, he stays evil, which is cool. Because we all thought, I thought, and I think everyone else in the theater thought, that he was going to turn and side with Rey and not and stop blowing up the transports and all that jazz. But he doesn't. We don't see him turning back to the light side. We see him actually finishing what Vader started, i.e. doing that cool Sith ascension thing we've never seen, which is kill the Master and take over. We heard this story with Darth Plagueis, it's hard to say, and Darth Sidious, who became the Emperor, of course. But we hear the story, but we don't see it. This time we get to see it. So I think that's very cool, because in Force Awakens he says to his melted... sorry, I was distracted by my hands on the camera. By the melted Darth Vader helmet effigy thing. He says right to it, I will finish what you started. And now he actually does. He really does do that, which I think is really cool. And we're in new territory now. That's very exciting. We can go places we've never gone before with Star Wars. Some people say it's like the end and there's nowhere else to go. I think it's exactly the opposite. I think we can go anywhere now, which is really very cool. Let's see. let's see what else. There were some problems in this movie that I don't think were problems. Like, people had issues, especially with the Snoke dying thing. People were like, oh, we've set it up, and now he's dead, and who is he? And honestly, I don't care. Because you didn't care who Emperor Palpatine was, really, in the original trilogy. He's just a big bad guy. Like, who cares? You know, it doesn't matter who he is. So I was never that interested in that. So when he died, I just thought that was a huge, elating moment. And if they give us more information later, sure, but you know, I'm not disappointed that we didn't find out about that. I have more thoughts on that kind of thing, of things people just pointed in that didn't bug me that much. If I can find them. Oh, there they are. Let's see, what's that say? I don't think Rey is a nobody. I think that's bullshit. I think Kylo's lying to her. I think he's fucking with her. And Rian Johnson has said that Kylo thinks he's telling the truth, but then there's all that certain point of view thing, and I really hope J.J. Abrams swoops in and takes advantage of that, because that is really stupid that we spent all that time setting it up, and who is she, and she turns out to be no one. I think that's just Kylo trying to be like, you're nobody, you have no one except me, and that's why you should join me, and it doesn't work on her, which is good. But I think we're totally set up in the next one to be like, you know, it's like Obi-Wan Kenobi telling Luke, your father's dead. Certain point of view. That's what Star Wars is all about. Certain point of view. If it had a catchphrase, I think that's what it would be. Either that, or I have a bad feeling about this. I also think, so I'm just going to get into some theory territory here. I think Kylo and Rey are going to turn out to be brother and sister. Not twins, obviously, because there's a clearly, like, 10-ish year age gap between those two actors, and that would be super weird. But, I think they're going to turn out to be siblings. I think that would make a lot of sense thematically and narratively. And maybe it's cop-out, maybe it's too obvious, but I think it's the smartest choice. And, I think that would be interesting to see, like, if they are siblings, and how did Rey end up nowhere on Jakku? Like, was she kidnapped? Did they put her out there to hide her from Kylo Ren, a la Luke and Darth Vader at the end of Episode 3? You know, there's just lots of, if you buy into the whole Star Wars ring theory thing, there's lots of opportunity for that happening. Also, I was not bothered by Phasma. She always felt kind of gimmicky to me. It's just not that I don't love Gwendolyn Christie, and it would have been cool to see a bit more of her, but the fact that I think she's there for Finn to fight his demons, really, and now that he's done that, she doesn't really serve a purpose anymore. I do think she should have been more present, you know, just like on the bridge here and there, you know, just in the background, chilling with Hux, you know, anything just to sort of establish her presence on the ship, because then she just comes out of nowhere and then she dies, and so that's a little cheap. I just think they should have established her presence a little bit more, but just like put her in the background here and there. And also that shining armor is cool. This last thought, or second to last thought, or maybe even third to last thought, might come off as a little callous, but in light of Carrie Fisher having died, I don't think they should have killed Luke or had him die. It was good. The way it happened was really satisfying. He gets to finish what he started, in a sense. He has the twin sons, and he gets to float off Obi-Wan Kenobi style into nothing and sacrifice himself and all of that. And that was sort of very visually satisfying and a nice wrap up. But in light of Carrie Fisher having died, and now the next movie can't be more Leia-centric, like I think they were clearly trying to make it, because as far as the old big three go, Force Awakens is Han's movie, Last Jedi is Luke's movie, and the next one was clearly going to be Leia's movie, but now we can't do that for obvious reasons. So I think they should have kept Luke alive just to keep him more present. Speaking of people from the original trilogy being more present, not enough R2-D2, not enough Chewbacca. I mean, I could say that about like everything in the world, but not enough R2-D2, not enough Chewbacca. I thought the Yoda thing was very clever. I thought that was a really good use of Deus Ex Machina. And it was very funny. It was really cool to see it again, and it was awesome that it was a real puppet, and it was Frank Oz underneath doing the voice and the puppeteering. I don't know how you puppeteer. I think it doesn't involve something like this. I don't know. But yeah, so that would have been a lot. So that's pretty much everything I feel about this, I think. I think those are all my thoughts and feelings. I'm going to keep flipping these pages over until I find the last one. There it is. Oh, quickly. There has been a critique of this movie felt like The Force Awakens never happened. I think there's some merit to that, but also some of it I think wouldn't have had any bearing on what's going on here. Like the Knights of Ren, I'm really interested to see. I hope they come up in the next movie. But I think they wouldn't have had a place in this story. I think, especially since we learned in this story that Ben Solo didn't just torch the temple and run away. He took a handful of students with him. The ones he didn't kill, he took with him. So I think those fellow students end up being the Knights of Ren, and I would very much like to see them in the next movie. But there were a couple other things, like even character-wise, that felt like The Force Awakens never happened. So, that's what happens when you don't have overlap from one writing of one film is the next one. So that's why I'm glad that J.J. Abrams is coming back for the third one, for a little more continuity. But I'm noticing my ticker here. We are over 20 minutes, and I don't think I'm going to bother to cut any of this because I'm lazy. So those are all my thoughts. And if you've made it this far, thank you very much. I appreciate it. This is a lot of words in a row, and I hope they all made sense. If you want to continue the conversation, hit me up in the comments section, which I believe is still down here, if I remember the layout of YouTube correctly. About, I think 6 years ago now, I made another video about how I felt about Star Wars and why I love it, and I mostly stand by that. I rewatched it recently, and there's something I said about George Lucas can do whatever the hell he wants to the original trilogy because it's his, and I sort of agree with that. I sort of don't. So if you want to watch that, click here, somewhere in this area. There'll be a link. I'll put it in the description as well if you care to see what mid-college me thought about Star Wars. And I mean the general feeling of that I still stand behind, but some of the more minute thoughts I'm not sure I still agree with. But I'm allowed to change my mind. I'm a person. Anyway, again, thank you for sticking with me for this long. If you're someone I know, I'm really impressed that you watched over 20 minutes of me rambling about Star Wars. But, apparently you wanted to know what I thought, which is awesome. Thank you. Maybe I'll do this again. So, stick around. I might come back.